Good morning. As in the last class, we studied about the definition of force and the balanced forces, unbalanced force, and somewhat introduction about the Newton's laws of motion. Today we will start with the Newton's first law of motion. Okay. The statement is here: an object remains in a state of rest or of a uniform motion in a straight line unless compelled to change that state by an applied force. This is the statement of Newton's first law of motion. It explains that when an object is to be in a state of rest or of a uniform motion, here we mention the uniform motion because when we consider the non-uniform motion, the speed of the object changes with respect to time. There is no time limit there. So here in case of a uniform motion, what happens? The object is changing with respect to time. So here they are both are equally maintained here. So we consider the uniform motion. In this case, what happens when an object is moving in a uniform motion? Uniform motion in a straight line. The object must be moving in a straight line, and it will not change its state of motion unless we are applying an external force. Unless it is compelled to change that state by an applied force. Without applying an external force to the object, it will not change its state of rest or of a uniform motion. Once again, I will tell you, when an object is in a rest position or in a uniform motion in a straight line, there is no change in its state of motion or a rest position. By applying an external force to the object, then only we can change its state of rest or of a uniform motion. This is about Newton's first law of motion. In this one, what happens? There are two parts. First one is the state of rest and the uniform motion. Okay. Here firstly I will give an example based on the state of rest. Okay. There is a one table in that we put the one book. It will remain same in the same position. The book will remain same position until we are applying an external force to that book. It will not change its state of rest position. Right? It will remain same in that position only. When we are applying an external force to that book, that means when we take that book from the position, then only it will change its state of rest position and it will displaces. What I am telling here is by applying an external force to that book, it will change its state of rest. Right? There are so many examples you can observe in your day-to-day life. You can go through the textbooks, you will get an example. I will give another example that, okay, when there is a one stone, you can observe so many stones in the surrounding, right? They will remain in the same position until you can change its place by applying the force, right? By applying an external force to the stone, it will change its position. So these are some examples which relate in the state of rest. If we consider the uniform motion of an object, okay, but consider one marble. When it is moving in a uniform motion with the straight line path, what happens? They will continue to be in a uniform motion unless there is no air resistance and friction offered by the object. If and only if air resistance is absent and there is no friction, the marble will be in a straight line path. Unless you are applying the force to that marble, it will not come to rest position. This is the case of uniform motion of the object. Then we have, in the yesterday class I told about this Newton's first law of motion is also called as inertial law of motion. Then what is called inertia? Inertia is nothing but it is a property of the body due to which it resists the change of state of rest or of a uniform motion. Means it is an opposition offered by the object to change its state of rest or of a uniform motion. Here we can say that inertia of the object is more when the mass of the object is more. That is, if inertia is more, then mass of the object will be more. This is a directly proportional sign. Here inertia is compared to the lighter masses. Okay, I will give one example for this inertia of mass. Consider the same size of the stone as that of the football. Okay, when the mass of the stone is more compared to the football, what happens? The inertia in case of a stone is more compared to that of a football. Why? Because itself is the answer. Because the mass of the stone is more compared to that of the football. Hence, the inertia in case of a stone is more, and football in case, what happens? The inertia will be less. This inertia is mainly dependent upon the mass of the object. Okay, we take another example. Consider 1 kg of a substance and a 10 kg of a substance. Which has a heavier mass? 1 kg or 20 kg? 20 kg is a heavier mass. Then inertia will be more in case of a 20 kg of a substance. So we say that inertia is directly dependent upon the mass of the object. Consider another example. Consider leather ball and a rubber ball. Right? Okay. In case of a leather ball, it has a more mass. It is used in case of a international cricket games. Rubber ball is you are using it in a local crickets. Okay. This rubber ball has a lesser mass compared to the leather ball. Hence, the inertia of the leather ball is more than the rubber ball. Okay. The mass of the rubber ball is less. The mass of the leather ball is high. Hence, the inertia of the leather ball is more compared to that of the rubber ball. This is regarding about the inertia of the bodies. So we can say that inertia of the body is nothing but explains about the Newton's first law of motion. As we say, Newton's first law states that an object remains to be in a state of rest or of a uniform motion unless it is compelled by an external force. We studied about the Newton's first law. In that we know about when the object is in a state of rest position. As I told about the uniform motion, when an object moving in a uniform motion, what are the factors influencing the object if it is to be in a continuous motion? The opposition offered by the object is one is air resistance and the friction. When there is a air resistance and the friction, the object will not move in a uniform motion. If there is no air resistance and there is no friction, then object will be in a continuous motion unless we apply the external force to that object. One example I will take here. When you are going in a bus, when there is a sudden brake, what happens? You will lean towards a forward, right? In that case, what happens? The body is to be in a state of inertia position. When there is a sudden applying of the brakes, your body will lean towards a forward. Because of the inertia of the body, it will oppose that force. So it will lean forward. In that case, what happens? The inertia of the body will changes. Okay, there is a force applied by the driver. Then what happens? The body will move forward. Okay, this is one example when the object is in a uniform motion. You may observe in the cars what happens. There will be a seat belt, right? Why they give the seat belt? To avoid such injuries when we are applying the sudden brakes. So that when we say applying the sudden brake, what happens? The inertia will act on that body and it will lean towards forwards. So that to reduce that inertia of the body, seat belts are provided. So the major accidents or the some injuries are controlled by the seat belts because of the inertia of the body which changes by applying the external force. So the inertia, as we know, it is a property due to which it resists the state of rest or of a uniform motion. Okay, consider another example. Consider one glass and a changes its state. This is the Newton's first law of motion. Go through the statement of the Newton's first law of motion. Okay. The next one is the Newton's second law of motion. Okay, we studied about the Newton's first law of motion. Then next concept is the Newton's second law of motion. Before going to that concept, we are going to determine the one term called as the momentum. We will study about the momentum. What is called this momentum? This momentum is nothing but the product of mass and velocity. It gives the momentum. This momentum we will going to apply in the Newton's second law of motion. Consider one example how this momentum is varies with respect to this mass and velocity. Consider the plastic ball and the rubber ball having the same size. Okay. When we hit those plastic ball and the rubber ball, what happens? What happens? The plastic ball has a lesser mass, but the rubber ball has a more mass. So it has a more force, but this plastic ball has a less force because of the plastic ball mass is less, but the rubber ball mass is more. So from this we see that force is directly proportional to mass. As the mass of the object is more, then force will also more. Okay. If the plastic ball mass is higher, then force will be more. As we know, the plastic ball has a less mass compared to rubber ball, hence the force from the rubber ball is more compared to that of the plastic ball. Consider the second example. Take two rubber balls having the same size and same mass, but they are moving with a different speed. Okay. When we are hitting those two balls with a different speed, what happens? What happens? Okay. Consider ball A and ball B. They are having the same mass. Both are having the same mass, but the speed is here is this. Ball A has a more speed, but ball B has a less speed. What happens? The force from the ball A is the force from ball A is more compared to that of the force from ball B, because as the velocity is changes in both the cases. Okay, the velocity is more, then force will also more. If the velocity is less, the force will be less. Okay, from this also we see that force is directly proportional to speed or velocity. So from this we see that force is directly proportional to mass and velocity. So from this what we say that the product of mass and velocity is nothing but the momentum. Force is directly proportional to momentum. The speed is referred as a momentum. So when there is the momentum is more, then force will be more. If the momentum of the object is less, then force will be less. So this momentum is mainly dependent upon the mass and velocity of the object. It is nothing but the product of mass and velocity. So the SI unit of momentum is what? Okay, the unit of mass is basically kgs and velocity meter per second. So the SI unit of momentum is kg meter per second. So this is about the momentum of the object. So we are going to apply this momentum in a Newton's second law of motion. We will going to study this Newton's second law in the next class. Thank you.